Hi guys, it's MC Seeker of Truth, and I'm here today with my friend Intel Lady. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thanks. We've got Jen from Intel Lady, and we've done some videos together before. I class you as a friend, and we've done, we talk a lot behind the scenes. But I realised before we've never really done a video where we kind of just sit here. We've done lots of videos. We've done Griftbusters, of course, where you're there as yourself, and we've done lots of collaborations. I've done lots of collaborations with Lyman Sharks and Mad Max Maddie and various other characters, but we've not really kind of sat down and just done a video like this. So I thought I'd come on and introduce you and talk a little bit about you, and then just have a bit of free discussion with you.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
So Intel Lady is your YouTube channel for anyone that's not seen. And if you follow me, I'll be surprised if you've never seen Jen before. But tell me just briefly about what your channel is.
Well, my channel is basically all your fault. I'm blaming you. So I had absolutely zero intention of having such a channel, but it was one of those necessities in the end, because I just had enough. Just like you, I had enough of grifters. For me, it was the spiritual grifters, the ufology grifters, and then they all they manage to sort of infiltrate all the communities, don't they? And then they're part of the truther community, and they're all like round tabling together and just peddling the same nonsense. And I started to see people in the community that I care about very much, the spiritual community, just making absolute buffoons of themselves by going on with these grifters, going on the shows and parroting the same conspiratorial nonsense. And I thought, oh no, I don't like this. As you know, Em, from the start, from the get-go, I had a chat. I have two channels. So my main channel, Lightworker Lady, I've had since 2015, and it's a spiritual channel, and that's why I was very much involved with the spiritual community. And I just got so sick of the nonsense, so I actually used that channel to call out some of these grifters, and I didn't mince my words. And it was very sad to see that a lot of people who were subscribed to my channel were also subscribed to a lot of these con artists as well. And as a result of me calling them out and saying what I thought about them, and there was a few of them that I called out by name, I lost loads of subscribers. And I just thought, no, I'm doubling down now. I'm not gonna simper back to them all and say
there's no looking back now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, I'm sticking with everything that I've said. I'm not going to walk it back. This is how I feel. You're making a mockery of all of it, and I'm not having it. And the emails, the comments in my comments section. It was pretty rough, but
yeah, it's a tough gig, isn't it? Speaking out, doing what you think's right. But hats off to you and anyone that does that. And the problem is these days is not many people do they? Even if they think it, they don't say it because they don't want to upset their followers. And yeah, I've been there with getting hate mail and people. Oh, I'm unsubscribing now. But at the end of the day, you've got to be you and true to yourself, and you've got to use your platform for good, right? And I think more people should do that. So if you lose a load of followers, okay, but then really, hopefully that some of them will come back and really, maybe you made an impact on them, even if they don't come back. Maybe 2 months down the line, they'll go, oh, you know what, Lightworker lady did say about this, and perhaps she was right. They might not come back, but you may have imprinted on them, and that's a good thing if you have.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to them. It's their journey. It's they have to do what's right for them, and if they feel that following these people is the right thing for them to do, then good luck to them. They will wake up to them eventually, and they will realize that they're being conned eventually, and I can only take you so far. You've got to do the rest yourself. So
you can lead a horse to water and all that.
Exactly. And if I hadn't have done that, and if I hadn't have gone through that process of being abandoned and actually, and surprisingly not caring so much when they did all jump ship, I thought, no, but this is my integrity means more to me than numbers, and that I just had to accept it. But if I hadn't done that, I would not have stumbled across a show called Griftbusters. And this weirdo called Seeker of Truth. What on earth? But and then I was fascinated, and I watched a few of your videos, and I think I chatted to you a little bit in your comments section, and then I don't really know how it happened. I think it was being inspired by the brilliant cleaning lady sketch.
Hilarious.
That was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Let's talk about the cleaning lady. Charlie claims that he rang the central bank, and he was on the phone, and he got put through to a department, and the cleaning lady answered. Now, this cleaning lady was busy dusting the quantum financial system top secret computers, and he had a nice little chat with her about when the QFS is going live. It's ridiculous. And I happen to, it seems ridiculous, but I happen to have obtained the actual CC. I rang up the central bank, right, and they put me through to the same department, right, and the cleaning lady was on shift. And she picked up and she said, oh, well, I have access to the CCTV room too. And what she did was she burned off the CCTV of the phone call with Charlie Ward. It did happen. So let's take a look at the CCTV footage from inside the bank with the cleaning lady.
And I mentioned the other day, I phoned up the central bank because we were doing something else, and I was having a chat with them. They put me through to a department, and the cleaner picked up the phone.
Sadie, the cleaner, with trusty scrubbing brush and pail of water.
I'm like,
hello.
I'm not the Messiah. I'm just Charlie. So can you help me?
Oh no, I'm just a cleaner. I'm not qualified to give financial advice, but I will do my best to be helpful.
Oh, okay. So how's it going in there?
Oh, well, it's quite quiet. No one here to answer the phones.
What do you think of the new computer system? It's nice, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's beautiful. You're cleaning it just now.
When do you think they're going to turn it on then?
Well, I suppose I haven't signed any non-disclosure agreement, so I can tell any Tom, Dick and Charlie about it. I think it will be the beginning of April. Not long now.
Because she's not under an NDA, she's just being helpful. And I was being naughty.
You are being naughty now. I really must get back to work. These computers are not going to clean themselves.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
He's awesome.
Clean lady.
This is basically what Charlie had said had happened. He called a central bank. They put him through to a department where, of course, the top secrets, you know, quantum financial system computers were installed. And she picked up the phone, as cleaning ladies do, I guess, in banks, and then had said, "Oh yes, well,
It's part of the contract.
I'm with the, you know, I'm with these top secret computers. I'm cleaning them now. I'm not under a non-disclosure agreement, so of course I'll tell you that they should be switched on at the beginning of April." And yeah, that's his story. And he says, you know, "Oh, I was being a cheeky Charlie." You know, that is absurd.
And I just thought, oh, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's that was my profession before I stopped and had children. That was my profession. So
I'm so glad that someone that, you know, as talented, and you are extremely talented, and I think what you do is absolutely brilliant, and you make me laugh so much, and I know that you make a lot of others laugh so much, but I'm so glad that you saw that, or, you know, and someone saw that had the talent to continue that. Because funnily enough, even though the kind of the original sketch on the first, well, I think it was the first Griftbusters, of the cleaning lady skit, and funnily enough, even though the actress was a friend of mine, I actually paid her and directed that skit. So I you know, actually
you've got to take the credit. You need to take the credit.
Don't get any ideas now, Jen. But yeah, you know, I had to you know, I had the vision of oh, this would be so funny, but you know, I need a lady that's you know, would do this and would do it good. And in fact, it took quite a few, you know, I felt like a, you know, a proper director. It took quite a few takes. Oh no, you've got to really put in the passion in your voice. You've got to really, you know, oh no, you know, you've got to, you know. And so I really did like have everything to do, but she was great, and she followed, you know, and she ended up being, you know, a brilliant skit. But I'm so glad that someone looked at that and was like, that looks like fun. I could really do that. That will help. And you made a channel out of it. And then from that, how many different characters now? I mean, you know, so you do parodies, you do skits, you know, parodying some of these liars, grifters, charlatans, con men, con women, whatever you want to call them, as well as some other personalities too. How many characters have you got now?
Do you know, maybe we should just ask the gems.
Yeah,
they'd be totting it all up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So we've got first and foremost Lyman.
First and foremost.
You know, we've got Mad Max Maddie. More on her later. And we've got Targeted Individual. She's quite new in this year. Targeted Individual. We've got Nicky Nacky New. We've got Fraudy occasionally. Fraudy doesn't come out very much, but sometimes we roll the potato out. We've got, oh my goodness, Kerry.
Yeah. Got David Shilcock.
Yes, David Shilcon. We've got the Great British Turd. Oh, who else?
W, although it's a bit of a retired character.
Jenny. No, I am sad about that because she was my favourite. By far, Caniston was my absolute favourite one to do.
Patriots, thank you for joining me. Okay, today we're going to get into today's intel. I've got some pretty amazing intel that's come through down the wires that I'm going to talk about. But before I do that, I have to talk about today's sponsor. I'm contractually obliged to, but also because the product is really, really good. So I'm just gonna get it up on the screen. Just 1 second. Okay. Oh, okay. So introducing Patriots to the new Patriot Honker. The Patriot Honker is here for patriots so that they can find out if they are near a Satanist.
It was really funny, but I understand obviously with her passing,
Can't do it.
she's based on passing. It's respectful not to continue to parody her. But yeah,
she had seen it though. She had seen it.
She had. And didn't she find it funny?
She did, yeah. She thought it was funny, and I think at first she wasn't sure how to react to it. I think she was a bit annoyed, and then her friends said, "But that's exactly what you do. You're always tossing your hair, and that is your life, and this, that is how you do. You are promoting different products, and that is exactly what you do." And so
I think we can clarify who you were parodying with this one. That was Kirsten W. The character was Caniston W. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, like you say, her friends were like, "Oh, that's just like apparently." Did she make a post or something saying that she'd seen it and it was funny? Or
I don't know. I think it was a conversation she had with somebody else who has a podcast, and I cannot remember who that was. But she had. She hadn't named me, but no one else was parodying her, so I know that it was my parody. And I'm glad that she had a sense of humor about it. I think that's great that she had a sense of humor about it and didn't get offended. I was really sad to hear that she passed away. I thought it was awful, but so that character had to be shelved. I didn't do that one anymore, but yeah, there's quite a few. I'm sure I've missed a few.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, you have.
Intel lady,
Intel lady, of course,
the one that's always on the phone to MI5 paid asset helpline. She's
as well as Mahoney, who's another one.
Well, it's Mahoney's. It's Mahoney's business advisor, isn't it? The guy in the hat.
Yeah, you've got Tarot by Janice.
Tarot by Janice. Yeah. Good old Janice.
But yeah, plenty of them, and obviously recently you've been doing some more kind of political. You've got who have you got? Liz Truss.
Got Liz Truss, Angela Rayner, Nadine Dorries. Did Boris Johnson as well. Just a one-off when he was leaving, and then I've done Kamala Harris. And the ex-press secretary Jen Psaki, I've done a few.
You've done a lot, yeah. We'll have to tally them up. We'll get the gems to tally them up.
Well, Amber Heard as well. Amber Heard, because I parodied all of that ridiculous court case as well.
Whole trial, yeah. That was brilliant as well. So great to see such diversity in on all your characters and all of them brilliantly funny. So that's great. So anyone watching, if they didn't know, go and watch Intel Lady channel. There's obviously a link in the description. But now I've got you here, Jen. I just thought we'd have a bit of free flow conversation. So, what have you seen anything interesting recently?
I did. As it happens, this is a breaking news, and I know that you follow this person as well. Because that was something that we had in common, that we both found that whole story quite interesting, and it was our favorite, everybody's favorite space cowboy, Boring No Good, as I call him, aka Corey Goode of Secret Space Program fame, showed up on Gaia TV with our favorite David Wilcock, and sold us a marvelous story, didn't he? About
wasn't it spectacular? Yeah, and very in depth, and told over hours and hours and hours of my wasted time on the Gaia network with David Wilcock. A fantastic story.
Sweating. He was always quite sweaty, wasn't he?
Always quite kind of sweaty, greasy kind of Yeah, but I thought it was fascinating. To be fair, I say wasted time. It was, you know, it was entertaining. This guy's story, yeah, like he was a chosen by the what was it? Chosen by the secret space program because he was a intuitive empath.
Yep.
Then he worked in the secret space program and did 20 and backs. Is that what they're called? Where
20 and back, yeah.
Where he goes and he does all of these jobs for the secret space program or off Earth, a lot of them, and
with Gonzalez. Remember Gonzalez?
Gonzalez, he was one of the agents, right? That
like the handler. Was he his handler?
Yeah. But he was like the agent handler, all that, and spent 20 years doing that, and then he was age regressed. So this is where you think, oh, so you must have been disappeared for 20 years. You must have, there must be some record of that. Oh no, because he went back in. He was then taken back in time 20 years, and he was age regressed 20 years to the point where he went disappeared. So you'd never know he was gone. Tracks covered. Interesting story. But anyway, yes, you were saying about him. What's the latest on him?
Well, you know how if he went through this phase at the height of his popularity, if anyone said anything about him being a bit of a fibber, telling tall spacey tales, then he would see them in court. And of course he got all the money to do that, all the money to take people to court via donations from his adoring fans who loved his scintillating tales of space hopping here and there. And so he took several people to court. And one of those is a friend of mine, C.W. Chanter, and he is still dealing with the legal wranglings because he hasn't had his day yet. But, you've still got to keep a lawyer on retainer. So he's still paying. So he's, I think last count he was about $15,000 in debt to, well, not in debt, but, he's paid out $15,000 in legal fees because Bory No Good got upset that he went on YouTube and said, I don't really believe this guy. I think he's talking bollocks. Because of that, he's in a right mess. So people have had their day in court with him, but not everybody. And this is a tweet from Jay Widener, who was involved with Gaia TV, I think one of the producers. So he writes on Twitter, and this is today. He writes, Corey Goode, under oath, is now saying that his secret space adventures were all channeled via meditation. He never went to space, and he never was in any programs. Eyewitnesses to the testimony told me yesterday. It was all BS.
Wow, what a surprise.
Imagine one's shock. Yeah, I mean, if I was somebody who had been worshipping, at the foot of Bory No Good and giving him all my hard-earned money so he could go and sue people who said meanie weenie things about him online, I'd be feeling a little bit shortchanged right now. I wouldn't be too impressed with, with how that's turned out. And he's still, now he's grifting his comic. He's produced a comic, hasn't he, about his space adventures, because no one wants to interview him anymore and pay him to talk bollocks about, his little age regression space adventures. And the grift is starting to run a bit dry, I think, for him. So he's trying to sort of reinvent stuff. But he's not the only secret space program grifter out there. I mean, have you heard of Randy Kramer? Because he's so
heard of him. I've not. I don't think I've really seen much of him.
He is a complete. He's such a big-headed, egomaniac. He was a barman. He was a barman. He wanted to get the ladies, and he invented little secret space program stories that he'd been in a 20 and back. And that, you know, he fought all of these insectoids on Mars, and watched people get their limbs like chewed off and stuff. It was almost like he'd seen that movie Starship Troopers. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was almost
the movie I was just thinking of when you were describing that.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, and perhaps, you know, he'd first started talking about this after he'd seen some of Corey Goode speaking about it, or any of the other apparent SSP insiders. It's interesting you say. So Corey Goode had said in court under oath that it was all through meditation that he'd come up with this story, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing, because I've been everywhere. I've been everywhere in that case. Anyone who's ever meditated has been in the secret space program, has been, you know, walking around Venus, and, you know, flying with the eagles. You know, we've all, that's that by his, you know, description.
So the deception is clear, really, then, because, you know, as I said, I invested a lot of time watching his accounts, his stories from the very first episode of Cosmic Disclosure. So, you know, I followed his story from when he first came on the scene.
So did I.
And, you know, I listened to it very closely, because he was indicating this really happened to him. Nowhere did he say, you know, I've channeled this and this is what I found. That was never a part of the story. His whole story was, it was real. Although he says that, you know, he went away for 20 years and then he came back in time 20 years and was age regressed 20 years. Yeah. He still was saying that this physically happened to him. So the deception there is clear. And what does he mean by channeled through meditation? It reminds me of me going on an alien spaceship with Ted Ma.
Down that elephant's snout.
But you don't see me going on Gaia and talking about how, you know, I'm a frequent visitor of Pleiadian motherships and rider of space elephants.
There's an elephant about 50 yards down on the right. It's another female, and she wants to meet you. Is that okay? You want to walk down and see her?
Yeah, I'd love to meet this elephant.
She's asking whether you'd like to ride her.
She's asking whether I'd like to ride her.
Yeah, would you like to get on top of her and ride her?
Let's ride the hell out. Ride this elephant.
She's got a long snout, and she's lowered it down to the ground. And she's saying, "Why don't you sit on it? Don't worry, you're not going to fall off. I'll bring you up. I'll wrap the snout around you. I'll bring you up and put you on my back." And she's asking you to sit down on her snout, and she'll wrap the snout around you securely so she can put you up on her back. Okay.
So on a snout, she wants me to sit on her face, on a trunk.
On her trunk.
Right. So I can ride her. Right. Okay. So, yeah.
And she'll wrap her snout around you and then put you on top of her back.
Okay.
She's lifting you up. You're secured. Nothing to be afraid of. She's lifting you gently on top of her back and setting you down. There's lots of tropical vegetation. Okay. That's what it is. The animals like that. You've got animals, and you've got lions there, that you've got the elephants, of course, you've got the giraffes, you've got a hippopotamus in a different part of the zoo, in like a swamp area. You even have alligators who talk to you as well if you want. And don't worry, they won't eat you. Anyway, you're going through this jungle for a short time. It's only going to be a few minutes walk, and then she's turning around now and coming back. She said,
that bothers me. I mean, but it's not. It doesn't shock me with the amount of legal wrangles he's been going through. You know, ever since he started those kind of the legal challenges, and all of the episodes of him on Cosmic Disclosure were removed. and he then started, and it's been, you say about the comic book, it's been going on ages. They've been planning to do a comic book, and I think animated shorts. I think they're doing sort of animated videos about his story. And that's been going on a long time. So when I saw that, I mean, it was ages ago, years ago, a couple of years ago now, where I looked at him and I was just like, nah, you're a grifter, before I even started this channel. And it was frustrating for me. I mean, that's probably again another kind of think about all those hours that I kind of put into listening to his story. Thinking about all that wasted time, probably another kind of reason that's one of my lessons that I learned. And when I started doing this with my channel to try and wake people up to other people that are spinning these kind of narratives and wasting their time, that is a bit of my own personal experience that I draw from then, and the feeling that I had after that. Although for quite a while I've kind of lost interest, and it still bothered me when I was like, this guy is not, he's not real. But now we've got kind of confirmation. But I'm already over it. This years ago. But well, terrible.
It's. I'm right there with you, because I did follow it as well, and I was in a Facebook group called, and you may have heard of this group. It was called Meet Earth's Cosmic Neighbors, and it was basically a Corey Goode worshipping. I didn't realize it was. I just thought it was about people who had ET contact and all the rest of it. And I thought I need to be in this group. I think this is, I think these are my people. And so I joined the group, and it was just a total Corey Goode worshipping platform. I think he was a lurker in the group. He never appeared. I think Jordan Sather was in the group for a while when they were still, friends.
After a while, I ended up getting in contact with Corey and David, and I produced Above Majestic with them, and was in another movie that they did. But over time, really it was last year, 2020, I began to see some behavior from them that I just wasn't okay with.
Sure.
A variety of things. One of those was their business practices. There was a very litigious attitude emanating primarily from Corey, but both of them really. I just wasn't okay with a lot of the lawsuits they kept banking on. And then also the information. I started to notice them get kind of sloppy. There was easily verifiable claims and details that they were talking about in their videos that it was just wrong. It was just flat out wrong. And I'm not saying they did it on purpose. They might have done it not knowing, but it was such like basic information that, for them to get that wrong was just such an amateur move to me.
I think he was in the group for a while. I don't know if Teresa Yanaros was. They had a whopping falling out, Teresa Yanaros and Corey Goode's camp, Corey Goode. And now she's gone full on born again Christian. So she's gone from the spiritual stuff and involved in this, writing about the secret space program and talking about it and interviewing about it. She's gone fully to born again Christian, and has totally, transformed what direction she's going in. And it's really interesting to see how that group all sort of split off and went in different directions, because you don't see David Wilcock with Corey Goode anymore. No. You don't see those two together. They don't do conferences together. There's a lot of bitching and backstabbing within that community, and it's very similar in the spiritual community as well. They all do this. They all sort of turn on each other, and it is like one big whopping ego fest. And I remember Corey and David having a little bit of an argy-bargy at a conference. I think Corey had made some kind of joke at David, and David's ego was so fragile he couldn't handle. It was like bants. It was boys' bants, and he couldn't deal with it because his ego was just like, "How dare you speak to me like that?" And Corey Goode was like, "Oh," and then they sort of sorted it out, but it was very much, you could see who was in control in that friendship, and it definitely wasn't Corey Goode at that point. And then they sort of fizzled out their friendship after that. So it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I'd love to find that clip to see that, because
I don't know. It was at a conference. It was maybe Contacting the Desert. It was something like that. I think it was when they were at their height. They'd done a few conferences together, and then I think this was like maybe the last one they did together, because after that it went very frosty.
Yeah, moments like that are quite revealing, aren't they? And quite interesting to observe. You said about someone turning from spiritual to Christian, born again Christian, right? So yeah, it's interesting. We see quite a lot of that happening. I know a few people that have recently done that, and they go kind of from one extreme to the other. And it's funny how they act, how kind of their ego presents itself on these occasions. I think I posted something the other day that was a meme of a lady kind of holding her hands like that and saying, since I've had my spiritual awakening, I can now finally put my ego aside, and now I am so much better than all of you. And I just thought, that's so a lot of people totally come off that way. They do. But I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, it's not the way. It's not the spiritual. Whether you're lean more towards the sort of new age spiritual side of things, or you lean more towards organized religion, the one thing that those two sides have in common is you need to be without ego. It's not going to work for you if your ego enters the room before you do. You're not going to learn a damn thing. You're going to learn nothing on your spiritual journey. And it isn't a spiritual journey either. But you see it all the time with the spiritual grifters. I watched, before I started calling them out, I just got so frustrated with, you'd see them all round tabling together. And they'd do this divine feminine round tabling, and it was people like Magenta Pixie and Jen McCarthy and Vicky Pegg. Vicky Pegg was round tabling with them as well, and it was just, they'd just sit and talk absolute nonsense. It was all the 5D ascension, 5D ascension, 5D. It was all that kind of thing, and they'd just be repeating the same stuff, and it was all rinse and repeat, and they just keep doing this. And oh god, the other one, Laura Eisenhower. Yeah. They would all be, together, and they'd all be saying the same thing and using the same. And my husband said, "Oh, it sounds like they're using the oh god, what's this? It's a website. It's the New Age bullshit. New Age. Oh god, I can't remember what it is now, but you log onto it and it will give you immediately, it'll give you this quote which is born from nothing. It's almost like AI wrote it. It doesn't make any sense, the galactic blah de blah of the certain
like a word salad of load of like.
Yes, it's basically New Age word salad. And I know, I bet people people will be shouting it at me now. Oh no, it's this, Jen. It's and I know.
Right. When you remember later, I'll get the website and I'll put it over the top. So,
but that's what it sounds like. And this is what I think. This is what Sasha Stone is basically made up of. I think he's just permanently attached to this website, and he's just coming out with whatever nonsense comes up.
Does it have like a word, like a sentence generator on there, and you just like type in loosely what you want to say, and then it brings out a paragraph of just spiritual word salad. That'd be an interesting app to come up with. I might do that.
It is. It's the New Age bullshit generator. I think it's the New Age.
Is it actually like a generator?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. It's a good idea. That's probably what they're using then. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what that's what they sound like they're using. And I think this is why I went through such a difficult time with my other channel, with like, oh my God, I don't want to sound like these people. Like I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Where I come from, I talk about my experiences, my spiritual journey, all the bizarre paranormal things that have happened to me throughout my life, and how they just appear in everyday life, and I think, oh my God, I don't want to sound like these people that are saying things like this. That isn't me. And so but it put me off. I didn't put too much on my channel for quite a while, and people are like, oh, where have you gone? Where have you gone? You haven't posted anything for a while. And I just thought, I don't want to. I don't want to. I need to step away from, I need to step back. And I am slowly putting more stuff on my original channel now, but I'm very picky about what I talk about. I'm really picky about what I post, and I know that it's not going to get loads of views, and I'm okay with that, because again, it's integrity and
authentic,
that's it. I mean, I could get my decks of cards out and start reading cards for people, but there's plenty of other channels that do that, and I don't feel that's where I'm at anymore with my journey. I feel like doing Intel Lady and making people belly laugh at the most ridiculous things,
which you do,
is, to me, more helpful and more healing to people who are looking for answers than picking up a deck of cards and giving someone a reading. To me, I feel like I'm actually helping more people. I'm actually gently waking people up to, it's okay, we've all been there. We all got taken. You and I have just admitted, that we found the whole Corey Goode thing fascinating. And after a while, we were like, yeah, I'm out. No, I don't believe this anymore. This is nonsense. But it was a fun ride. And I think if I can use Intel Lady channel to do that, not mock people, I don't mind mocking the grifters, but the people who have fallen for it, I don't want to mock them. I want to say, hey, it's all right. It's all right. Come on. You're welcome here. You're welcome here. When, let's all laugh about it together. We're not.
Absolutely. It's some people don't, so anyone that watches my channel will know that I try to apply humor in my videos. It's not my videos aren't comedy, but I try to put pieces of comedy in throughout, or what I think is comedy, or what I find funny. But I think that different people react differently to that. I think that it helps. There's a lot of people out there that actually learning to see the funny side and laugh about it really does help a lot of people. Now, some people have said to me, well, I was with you with all that, and then you started mocking us by putting in this comedy, and Griftbusters got a lot of that. People are like, why are you laughing about it? This is serious stuff. I believe that. So it's not for everyone to come at it from that angle, but there's definitely a lot of people out there where that sort of, where they would rather listen to that than kind of almost be lectured in a very stale way about it, and so each to their own. But I think you're right. Humor definitely is a very positive way to gently help people realize some of these things. And actually, sometimes when you see it so ridiculous, when you see it from when it's put to you, when it's regurgitated back to you in such a manner that is just so humorous, and you think, actually, that is ridiculous now you put it like that, that really does help a lot of people as well, because a lot of these people are really convincing, and they words hold a lot of power. If they put them in the right order, they can put a spell on you. The word spelling, spell is kind of can kind of trick your mind into believing, what was it, neuro-linguistic programming. People like Simon Parkes, who use their words in a very clever way to make the most ridiculous things sound plausible.
Well, I mean, you say it's ridiculous. You say it's ridiculous. But is it? I mean, is it really ridiculous? Because actually, do you know what? I mean, perhaps you're not as developed as you think you are. Do you think that might be it? I mean, I see you're wearing a hat today, but it's not white, is it? It's not white. I've got your number.
It's grey, Lyman. So I must be somewhere in the middle. But,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I think it helps. I think it helps a lot of people, and I think that it's very niche what you do, and there's not anyone else. I have not seen anyone else out there doing what you do. So it's definitely, like you say, there's lots of people out there reading tarot cards, but there's, there's not. There's only one Intel lady, right? And I think you do a great job, and it's kind of similar to my channel, but there's more people doing stuff similar to me, but I don't see anyone else doing and anything similar to you. So I think that's great, and I think. I applaud you for carrying on with it and doing something that where your heart's in it and you feel like it's going to help people, and also spreading some laughs in this world, because we all need to have a bit of laughter and a bit of positivity, especially especially for those who were duped or were following these people. Bring their spirits up, even if it's mocking what they did believe. You're not mocking them, like you say. For them to kind of let it go. I suppose it probably brings some closure to if they manage to laugh about it, they can probably bring some sort of closure for them. Like close that door and now I can laugh about it. It's probably quite good for them. Yeah,
healing for me as well.
Yeah, I bet.
I think it helps me. This is not an easy time that we're living in at the moment, is it? People have been so stressed out, especially these last 2 years. You just don't know what's coming. It's like another month. What now? Are the dinosaurs coming back?
When are the aliens coming?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's a nervous wreck right now, and people, they need to find something. And preferably something free would be good. So if we can all, get together and have a nice little community and have a giggle, even, if I'm dicking around in a bald cap and a jumper, at least we can laugh it out, can't we? And I think it's a good way to sort of bring. I love this community. I think it's awesome. I think we've got some brilliant people, and we're all so different. I don't like this, you're all in an echo chamber and all of this kind of stuff. I don't think we are at all. I think we're all very different. I think we all have different belief systems. We all have different politics, and we do. The people from all different sides of the aisle.
Absolutely, but we all agree that these certain personalities are full of it, or even some people actually even in that respect, some people will go, I get this one and that one and this one, but I don't know why you did this lady, because I trust her intel. You even get a few of those watching your channel or our channels. But then that's the whole point. You don't want to speak to the same people over and over again, or the people that are believing in you want to reach out to those too and go, okay, well, if you believe them, that's fine, but have a look at how ridiculous this is. and then go back and think about that. So I think that's good.
I use their words. The last tarot by Janice, I didn't really make up that much stuff. It was already there for me to just cherry pick the worst bits and put it all together. And it's the same with the last Lyman that I did. I didn't make any of that up, really. I mean, you could tell when there's a little bit of poetic license with how I've developed that Lyman character, that obviously, there's certain things, that I've thrown in there that everybody knows. Okay, that's just Intel Lady's little
gag on top of it.
Gag on top of it. Yeah. But the questions and the way questions have been answered by those people, I literally just ripped it, wrote down what they'd said, and then threw it in there because sorry, but that's what's being said. And it's funny.
Let me give you some highlights from that 2-hour update. And let me just cherry pick some highlights, put them all together, and look how ridiculous it is when you put them in, when you frame it like that. I think that's really clever because, like you say, you're not like making it all up. Like, actually, if you go back and watch watch the update and compare it to your video, you've only said what he's saying. You may have added a line here or there, poetic license, like you say, you know, might be something to do with the many cats around you or something, which is all to do with the character that's derived from, you know, this guy who has lots of cats, and, you know, it's quite funny, and you have to add that to kind of add to the humor, but actually the skeleton of it, you know, that's what he said. So I think that's really clever. Well, one last thing I think before we go tonight, I just wanted to mention about the Great British Turd.
Please go on then.
Claire Hocking Oakle, the Great British Bird. We both recently did a video about her. She's a grifter. For anyone that doesn't know, grifter that used to claim that she was going and emptying deep underground military bases in the UK, along with her special team of US Navy SEALs. And she was working for Charlie Ward and Donald Trump. That was what she was originally, and now she does interviews and apparently works on cases of satanic ritual abuse, etc., and runs a Telegram channel. But she's a loony, in my opinion. She's not, you know, her info is not intel, and she doesn't have. And another thing she said was that she had quantum technology, and she found out my name was Paul, which is not true, and who I worked for. It's quite ridiculous. But anyway, you did a great parody of her recently. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and then I put some of that at the end of my video. One of the things when I was showing my video in the live chat, we were talking about Claire. We were talking about, someone said that was it the coat that she was wearing in the video looked like she was in the Blair Witch Project.
The Claire Witch Projects. Somebody said that, the Claire Witch. And I'm holding a pen because she likes to do that when she's trying to be taken seriously. The pen comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah, she does that a lot, doesn't she, with the pen?
The pen.
But someone made a meme. I just wondered if you'd seen this one. Let me bring it up. Have you seen that?
It's the Claire Witch Projects. She does like to sit around in the dark with her hat on her head.
She does, doesn't she?
When she's got something to say, she likes to pull over in a car and just, you know, just make a video, because that's what you do, you know, especially about, you know, sensitive subjects that she's talking about, so the SRA and all that sort of business. You just got to pull over in your car in the dark and talk it out, you know, with your followers. Put it on Telegram. I would love to know if she's actually seen your video yet.
Well, that would be hilarious if she has. She did watch the original one that I did, where I basically showcased her swearing, effing, blinding, calling me all sorts of names under the sun, including Paul, and she was berating. She'd come onto my Telegram, was berating everyone. Yeah, I did hear back from one of her admin back then that she was aware and had started watching my video and then had shut it off because she was just too embarrassed.
She should be. That was just but everything that comes out of her mouth she should be embarrassed about.
Madyson Marquette, Mad Max Maddie. And you'd said earlier something we more on that later. Have you got something to share on her?
Somebody a lady keeps writing in my comments section, you need to look at a lady called Carmen. I think she's called Carmen Struder or something like that. And today, and I kept going, oh yeah, I'll do it. Today I remembered, and I did a bit of Googling, and I put Madyson Marquette and Carmen Struder in, and sure enough, there's a round table. and it was this rather odd lady from South Africa who was hosting it. And it was Mad Max Maddie in her kitchen, interestingly, with a rack of knives behind her. I was like, well, I mean, and this Carmen Struder, who resides somewhere up Madyson Marquette's rectum, I think, because it was all very, oh, she's been through so much. she's such a hero. She's been through so much. You wouldn't believe she was trafficked and she was this and she was that. And she's still pushing this. But the weird thing about this particular show I was watching was, and I was like, oh wow. At the top of the show, she said she was talking about some issues she just had with her neighbor. This is about 6 months ago. I've had some problems with my neighbor, and I told a police officer that attended to F off and all this. I'm like, ooh, what a bit raw today, Maddie, aren't we, love? Good grief. Somebody's got out of the wrong side of the chaise long this morning. It was all very and then they were halfway through all of her lies about, all her backstories, complete bollocks, as we all know.
Yeah.
And then she gets a knock at the door and it looks like the Rosses had returned. The police are on her doorstep, and she went, oh, I'll be back. Okay. And off she goes. And then they carry on the interview. And they were like, oh, I don't think she muted her mic. Can we mute her? Can we? I was like, no, don't mute her. I want to hear. But sadly, we didn't get to hear anything. And I didn't get, because it was so hard to listen to this, because when she had gone and the camera was, off, they just spent the whole time talking about how great she was, what a hero she was, and talking about her backstory, which we all know is total fabrication. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get as far as her coming back. So I don't know. I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know what happened, with the cops that showed up. I've no idea. But so
was her camera off?
Her camera was off, yeah. So she switched the camera off, and she's like, "Oh, they're here now. I've got to go." But it was, I think it was genuine, because she wasn't expecting it, and then it threw her off a bit.
Wouldn't it be brilliant if she, came back across screen, accidentally knocked on the camera, and there was like a Gareth Barrett moment where she's getting put in handcuffs and taken off the screen? Like that would be brilliant. Maybe that will happen.
He threatened to tase me. Yeah, I did. Yeah, do you remember that? He threatened to tase me, and the police officer. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You just punched me in the face. I'm dealing with this. The camera's on. And the one who's got the taser just threatened to taser me. Yeah, did you? Right, it's on my camera.
If you can work yourself out then, can you?
Could you let go of me?
No. What's your name? We're an opportunity. You didn't get the opportunity to
deal with it. We're dealing with this. We're not giving you anything while we're dealing with it.
Yeah, I did. Put that down on camera. I did. I don't blame him. And it's been brilliant catching up with you and having you on my channel, Jen.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming on.
Pleasure. It was fun. I think we need to do it again, don't we?
Yeah.
The Em and Jen show.
Em and Jen show. We'll do more. We'll definitely do more. And yeah, absolute pleasure as always. Content creator and good friend of mine, Intel Lady. Thank you very much. Where can we find you, Jen?
You can find me on YouTube, Intel Lady. If you're into spiritual stuff, you can find Lightworker Lady. I do occasionally post stuff there. I've also started a tickety talk for the political characters. So if you're just interested in the political characters that I do, then I put them all on TikTok. I'm trying to keep to the grifters on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, and I have a Facebook page as well. So yeah, I'm around.
Right. Yeah, I'll leave some of the links to your socials and your channel in the description below. And until next time, thank you very much, guys. Follow Intel Lady, subscribe to her channel, and follow MC Good Truth. Good night.